Hey guys, it's Danielle, Celestial Piper here, Soldier of the Watch. Just wanted to first say hi and how excited I am to see 2 people already in the chat. That's pretty awesome. That makes me feel really good. Wasn't sure how the sun was going to be. I'm going to turn around here. Can you guys see me okay? Give you guys a minute because there's a little bit of a delay. We have an interesting topic to talk about today that affects us wonderful humans and probably the animals as well, and our earth, and exactly the health issues that we get. So today is I don't feel like doing anything with my hair day. So bandanas are always a good thing. Sometimes I miss my short hair. So it doesn't look like I got anybody on here yet. So I'm just going to give a little bit. There's 2 people in the chat room, but it says 0 people watching. So maybe they hopped out for a bit. So here in Charlotte, North Carolina, it is cloudy, but the sun is poking its way out and shining pretty bright. I had to bring my sunglasses with me, so I might end up having to put them on. Let's see. I don't want to start into the topic right away. The Schumann resonance is like out of control, completely chaotic today. So if anybody's having any kind of emotional issues, whether it's just you feel like crying or maybe you just feel like you got a lot of rage, maybe your body feels just off, it could totally be that. And I know I have ringing in my ears all the time, but I know that today I had like very loud ringing in my ears, and that can happen from the Schumann as well. So it looks like we got 1 person so far. So I'm just going to wait just a little bit longer. Hey, Dan. Looks like you're the only one in here right now. Sapphire and K8 were in the chat because they left comments, but I'm only showing 1 person. Yeah, I'll try to give them a chance to come back. I know the thing said 10:05, but I always give myself 5-minute cushion just in case I can't get on. So just give you guys a heads up for the future. If you see like 10:35, that's just me giving 5-minute cushion if, YouTube ends up glitching on me or something. Is it hard? Honestly, I feel like the live videos are much easier as far as the work you have to put in. Now, I'm not saying it's not easy because it depends on the creator, I think. And see, mine, because I'm looking at articles and sharing it with you guys, that's pretty easy, but if I have to do like major research and put something together and then do a video that's not live, for me, I work a lot more with that. So that's why I'm pretty much, for the most part, I'd like to try, every day, Monday through Friday. Doesn't always work out. So, if I can at least get like 3 or 4 days in, I'm happy. But it's easy for me to just do what I typically do live. I know Marfugel's channel, he's got a lot more to set up because he does all the call-ins and things like that. If you haven't checked out his channel, Dan, you go over there and check it out. It's pretty cool. He does live call-ins, so he has like a phone system, and during the week it's just him working the phone system. Fridays and Saturdays he has I forget his name. Dex. Gosh, I don't know how I forgot that. He has Dex that takes care of the call-ins. Dude, you just got to take a step. I was nervous about it too. And the first time I did it, and now for us small creators, they don't allow you to do it anymore. I used to be able to do live on my phone, but now I got to, we have to reach 1,000 before we can do it. But my first live video was actually in my car and on my way to the store, actually. So and then I just finished it in the parking lot. You just got to take a step of faith, and it'll all work out. You should go for it. So where is everybody? I think I'm just going to go ahead and start this show. So today's topic's an interesting topic. Hey, Crunch Chick. How's my Sharnie doing? As far as feeling, I'm a little off today. The Schumann's resonance is off the charts. When isn't it anymore? Had some major ringing in my ears. Oh, honey, I appreciate your support, but if you're exhausted, you go to bed. Take care of yourself. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning here, so I can't imagine how late it is there in Australia. So I think I'm going to have to put my sunglasses on, y'all. Oh, I've been in North Carolina too long. I just said y'all. So excuse me for a moment. So this was Clarkette Kent and then Superwoman. Oh my gosh, my sunglasses isn't in here. I guess we're just going to squint because I'm not going back in the house. So the topic's interesting, and as usual, my muse, Nightblade, kind of had me thinking about it. Although what she had talked about isn't exactly the same thing, but it is similar. So, 2 live chats right now. Oh my gosh, girl. Talk about multitasking. Sharnie said that she's on 2 live chats right now. Maybe I'm not the one that's Superwoman. That's a trip. I love you, Sharnie. Mwah, 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 mwah. It's funny. I don't know how anybody works a full-time job and does this YouTube stuff. Just the YouTube stuff alone. Oh, my favorite color, purple hearts. Right back at you, girl. I don't know how they do it, because I find it, especially if I do like a video with a lot of research and stuff like that, and I'm having to place pictures and screenshots and things like that in there. It takes a while. It's very mentally draining, especially on certain topics. Today's is a little controversial. So I hope you liked my thumbnail. It says they got the whole world in their hands. So if you don't know, I'm talking about the powers that be, the ones that hide behind the scene that's controlling our world. I'm swinging back and forth, and I could be getting you guys seasick, so I better stop. I love doing that on here. But these powers that be have a connection to the Georgia Guidestones, so I will be referring to that. We don't use this C word, okay? I call it skywriting or sky art. The Hopi, they're a Native American tribe, they call it sky webs. Marfugal, I believe he started this term, and I think it's hilarious, call it plane farts. So if you know what I'm talking about with the big C, yeah, I might have to do it this way, so that way you guys see it as a C. Bye, sweetheart. You take care. You get plenty of rest tonight, okay? tonight being right now for you. It's so trippy. So anyway, because that, my chats, live videos and stuff have a lot to do with health issues, autoimmune issues, fibromyalgia, and things like that. I thought, when Nightblade mentioned, she was actually talking about like space junk stuff that can harm the atmosphere, which that might be an interesting video for the future. It made me think of the skywriting and what is in the skywriting that affects us health-wise. See you soon, Sharni. So anyway, so why don't we go ahead and get on? It looks like we have somebody else that hopped on. Hi, whoever that is. There's a bit of a lag here, so all right. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the first article. I got to be very, 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 very careful that I don't say the C word, because then I will get marked. And they are really getting on people. All right, so this gentleman said that he's not a conspiracy theorist, not at all. What he has to say is that he feels it's a time that he writes about this subject, because it was brought to his attention about 8 years ago from whenever this article is. And guys, unfortunately, I am not going to be able to share the article with you guys. It is on www.yourdailyjournal.com, but because of what is in the link, the C word, I do not want to get flagged. So this gentleman, I'm just going to kind of skim over. He would see these long skywriting, okay, coming out of aircraft that were at a great height. So they were at an altitude that was greater than any commercial aircraft, and he had seen flying over. So at the time, it did not matter to him. But at the time that he wrote story, he said that it's totally a different story now. And he says that something is taking place, and he doesn't believe it's a good thing. So let's go. My computer's been giving me a bit of a hard time. Here we go. So to start, he goes back a bit and he says, do you remember as children when we would see the first jet aircraft going over? It was unbelievable, to say the least. Great sight for a child. I mean, I remember as a kid, I loved watching that stuff. The sonic boom. Oh, we had a few of those where I used to live, breaking the sound barrier. I could still remember the white smoke coming out of the planes. At least that's what I thought it was. As it turned out, it was water vapor. These vapor trails are called contrails, that being condensation from the aircraft. Those trails lasted for seconds as the plane flew over. So, as you know, when you look at them, they do the little plane farts. A typical contrail, which is water vapor, only lasts for a brief moment. But skywriting stays in the sky and it spreads out. So what the heck is in it, right, that it's able to stay in the sky? So now today things have changed, and when these military aircraft come over, the trails go from horizon to horizon. Hopefully I don't get flagged for saying the T word. One February 2 years ago, this gentleman finally saw one of the actual aircraft. And until that day, he had never seen what the skywriting, until that day, all he ever seen after that. So it wasn't the contrails we normally see. I see contrails. He says all he sees is the skywriting drop lower. He says it's very unnatural. He doesn't see anything but skywriting in the sky. And what he was saying there is that dropping lower is that after it would be done, he spent several hours just watching it, and it would drop lower and lower and lower. So this has got to be touching things here on Earth, right? And as they dropped, they got wider. So it was that time that these clouds, for that is what they looked like at that point, started doing funny things. Okay. Things that normal clouds do not do. They started rolling over and twisting onto themselves. I also did take notice that the entire county had been checkerboarded in this pattern. In time, what started out as blue, cloudless skies was no more. I don't ever see a day where it's just straight blue. I see it our first thing in the morning, and then they're out wrecking it. So he started to pay more attention to the skywriting. The government in the beginning stated that they had nothing to do with it. They said it was contrails. Said it was nothing to be concerned about. But what's funny is now they're admitting that they're putting something up there. Now he says, I can't truly tell you what our government is truly doing, but I can say I do not believe it is for the benefit of our people. I can tell you what I found out because of the persistence of the conspiracy theory and question about government involvement. Scientists and government agencies around the world have told their citizens that these skywritings are in fact contrails. If that were the truth, then why the patterns? I mean, I've seen X's in the sky and everything else. Our airlines are not the ones that are doing this. It is our military. Now, I want to just put a little note in there, guys. I respect, and I'm swinging again. I'm sorry. You guys are going to need a Dramamine. I respect our military. I respect our men and women who defend us and our country. I do, highly. I mean, they put their lives on the line. That includes our police officers, our fire department, our ambulance, everything. I'm sure they're probably being told something else, or they specifically grab people who wouldn't ask questions, or maybe they have a certain demeanor to them. You know what I mean? That's my thoughts on it, because I don't think a really good man or woman would want to do that if they knew what it was. Not somebody that has a good heart. So depending on who you talk to and what you're told, so-called experts on atmospheric phenomenon within our government will tell you that these skywritings do not exist. They will tell you that contrails are being affected by different things, such as wind shear of vertical and horizontal directions. They also are, they say that are affected by temperature, sunlight, and humidity. Now, NASA, the EPA, and the FAA have stated that the checkerboard look at the skywriting is because of the patterns within the flight lanes of commercial aircraft. The U.S. Air Force stated, in fact, sheet that this has been going on from the fact sheet has been going on since 1953 to now. That's another lie. Just like most of you have been looking at the sky, he's been looking at the sky since the 60s, 70s, or 80s. Do you remember the sky ever looking like this? I know I don't. The Air Force has also stated from the ground that you cannot really tell what you're looking at. I guess I have to agree with them on that point, but only if you're totally blind, like you live in a cave. So he goes on to say that, do these people think we're stupid? Yes, they do. I'm going to say that right now. They do. They also stated that the skywritings are nothing more than ice crystals. I can see this maybe on a winter day, but not in July at a height of 500 feet. All this was stated in their fact sheet. The skywriting seems to be more constant and the heaviest over United States and Western Europe. In Asia, Japan and Korea are being skywrited. The only country in the area that's not being skywrited is China. So a lot of what people say, or the skywriting is known as, is the, see, hopefully I can say this word, genocide spraying operation. So there have been many independent tests done over the past 5 years, and it does not look good. So it's been confirmed, guys, that all around our country, a cocktail of dangerous and extremely poisonous chemicals are being dispersed. This includes barium, cadmium, nickel, mold spores, yellow fungal mycotoxins, and the best radioactive thorium. And this is not the total list. The one chemical that's being sprayed the most is aluminum. Now, we've heard what aluminum can do to us. There's aluminum in deodorants, unless you buy natural deodorants, and you have lymph nodes under your, in your armpit and down the side of your body. So if over time it gets in there and stuff like that, you can get cancer. It's like, come on now, right? And that can cause all sorts of health problems. So the chemical, let's see, the chemical primarily attacks the central nervous system. And that right there, guys, for those with fibromyalgia, that's exactly where our issues come from. And me, as you know, having Sjogren's, which caused my small fiber peripheral neuropathy, that's another central nervous system illness. So, and it can cause everything from disturbed sleep, nervousness, memory loss, headaches, and emotional instability. With that said, have you noticed that how people have changed in recent years? I know I have. More and more every day, people are dying at a very young age. I believe in the Bible it says 120 years, but we really don't see that, do we? Look at the different drugs that we're using just to maintain our minds. Water samples at the top of Mount Shasta, California, have aluminum levels that are so high they can kill small rodents. The levels are off the chart, with the highest being at 4,800 times the maximum contaminant level for drinking water. In a recent snow sample, the level was 100 times the level for aluminum in snow. So those who work in the field of geoengineering will tell you that the goal is to reduce global warming. Just another lie that we have been told. But they never do that, do they? Never. For years, the government denied the idea of these flame forests and geoengineering. When people started, my luck that geoengineering is probably a word to get me striked. When people started to figure out what was going on, then they owned up to it. As the world's people observe more strange skywriting in the sky, we begin to ask more questions that they can't answer. So the world governments push justification through the mainstream media and scientific studies. And he says, there's one question in my mind. Why are they doing this? So that's why I pulled up Georgia Guidestones. Hey, peeps. You made it, Nightblade. Yay. Hi, Grant. Yep, Grant, I totally agree. So Grant, for those who are watching later, says that he sees this all the time and he's been sick from it as well. Flu-like symptoms, no vomiting, just a super crappy feeling. You're talking which, by the way, is very similar to fibromyalgia, Grant. You're talking herbicides, pesticides, insect junk. Holy cow. And then he put LOL. Because you know what? I agree with the LOL, because at this point, because there's nothing we can do except complain, and people who bring out the truth, you get what I'm saying? And we're living in scary times. Scary times. We're being poisoned. Poisoned. And don't get me started with big PHARMA, because it's another word. You know, I mean, that alone, that's why I'm getting off the crap. That's why Grant's helping me out, because Grant, you the man. And my girl Nightblade, my muse. You missed that earlier, I think. I had said that you were my muse, and you actually helped me come up with this topic. You inspire me. I have to finish this tea because I got some wild lettuce in it. It's cloudy, but the sun keeps poking out here and there. And I guess I will not be seeing any skywriting today. They won't need to, because they don't allow us to have a blue sky. Got to mark it right up. It's like having white sneakers, you know? Never fails. Somebody's going to step on your foot and scuff them up. Well, anywho, you should not be the only one there, Nightblade. The people leave. Oh, sad. Now it says 3. Okay. Well, oh, Grant had to hop out. Well, that's okay. Let's continue on. Now, I'm not sure if this is a word that's going to get me in trouble, but I think I've heard Adam, because he's the one I go by, what you can say, what you can't say. I'm not privy to a list. I tried to research myself, and I couldn't really find anything that was helpful. So I pulled up the on thoughtcatalog.com, and I can put that link in the details. I haven't done it, but I will. Here are some of the most bizarre and interesting facts about the Georgia Guidestones. So a lot of you guys probably already know this. So this is for those individuals that may have not heard of it. So the Georgia Guidestones are in Georgia. They're almost twice as tall as Stonehenge. Nearly 250,000 pounds of granite was used to make them. The stones have 10 messages inscribed on them, and they read, if I can get this to cooperate. It's taking forever for me to get it to scroll. There we go. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love-seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. I find that just kind of weird. I mean, I've heard about these before, but some of it's kind of contradictory, because if they are skywriting in the sky to poison us, now that could be the whole 500 million, but it says not to be a cancer or like to treat the earth good, but how are they treating the earth good? So I wonder if there's even way more to these Georgia Guidestones than we've discovered. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts below on it. I'm very interested. Yeah, so everybody left. Well, I won't be on here too long then. Plus, I know a lot of people don't like being on too long. So here's some other interesting stuff. These 10 messages are written on the guides in 8 different languages. Those languages are English, Swahili, Russian, Spanish, Sanskrit, Hebrew, Arabic, and Chinese. No one knows who paid for their construction. As the story goes, an elegant, well spoken, well dressed, and gray haired man who identified himself only as R.C. Christian appeared at a granite company in nearby Elberton, Georgia, one day requesting a quote on the project. Figuring he was some nut, the granite specialist purposely claimed a ridiculous price, figuring Mr. Christian would balk. Instead, Mr. Christian agreed to the price. Some people suspect that all right, so there's a certain order that starts with an R. I don't know if that's going to be a problem, so um, I'm not going to say the word. They believe that they financed the project. Since Rose Cross Christian, aka Christian Rosencruz, was the founder of the Mystical Society, many suspect that they were financed or that they financed the building of the Georgia Guidestones. Others suspect that Ted Turner financed the project, since Ted Turner of CNN fame is located a mere 100 miles away in Atlanta, and since many of his stated globalist goals reflect the message of Georgia Guidestones, it also has been suggested that he is the mystery patron behind the giant granite slabs. Project builders had to sign a legal agreement never to reveal the identity of the financiers. They also swore to destroy all legal papers regarding the guidestones, the construction once the project was finished. The message of the Georgia Guidestones seems to call for at least 90% of the Earth's population to be wiped out. The passage about maintaining humanity at a population of a half billion or less would require a massive dying off of humanity, the likes of which we've never seen. This is what has led many conspiracy theorists to allege that whoever financed these guidestones are in cahoots with the evil, you know who, project to extensively depopulate the planet. Yoko Ono called the Guidestones a stirring call to rational freedom. Apparently, the Beatles' widow is fine with seeing 6.5 billion humans wiped out, well, she, along with other celebrities, they're all part of it. The stones were defaced with graffiti in 2008. They spray painted message was "Death to the you know who." About that you know who thing, whoever paid an astronomical sum to build a giant set of tombstones, I like that, giant set of tombstones, calling for mass depopulation, a single world language, and a world court, definitely didn't see a use for national borders. They were designed to withstand catastrophic events, even such as, World War that wiped out 6.5 billion people. Just an example. As the world lays in ashes somewhere, still standing way out in rural Georgia. Some claim they're satanic in origin. Well, since these you know who are Satanists, this includes Mark Dice, who claims they are of a deep satanic origin, and that R.C. Christian was a member of a Luciferian society. Messages inscribed on the guidestone as the Ten Commandments of the Antichrist. Others claim that they were intended to be seen by the survivors of nuclear war. Since the Georgia Guidestones were built in 1979, at the height of the Cold War between the USA and the Soviet Union, that many thought would inevitably result in a nuclear apocalypse, writers such as Brad Meltzer suggest that these Guidestones were meant to be seen by the war survivors, at which point the world's population would already be below 500,000,000. A mysterious time capsule is allegedly buried nearby. A tablet erected near the Guidestones claims that a time capsule is buried beneath the tablet, although there is no proof the capsule really exists, and no suggestions of what's written on it. R.C. Christian presented builders with a shoebox containing wooden model of the monument along with in 10 pages of extremely detailed specifications. Many of these specifications involved using guidestones as an astronomical guide, as explained in the next few items. The guide stones were purposely designed to track the sun's east-west migration year-round, and during an equinox or solstice, those who stand at the west side of a mail slot carved into the guide stones can see the sunrise over the horizon. 4 outer stones are positioned to mark the limits of 18.6-year lunar declination cycle. An eye-level hole drilled into the center stone permits viewers to locate the North Star. Yeah. Now, my thoughts on that, though. As we know, we've had a pole shift, and the stars aren't in the sky in their normal places, like Orion and things like that. So, wouldn't that mean that the North Star won't be able to be seen through that small hole? I mean, it may, at certain positions, maybe, but it's not going to be north, I wouldn't think. A small hole drilled through the capstone serves as a sundial at noon every day. A reading of where the sunbeam hits the center columns allows one to pinpoint the exact day of the year. R.C. Christian and his cohorts allowed the landowners full cattle grazing rights. In a small gesture of generosity, the mysterious backers of the Georgia Guidestone still permitted the owners of the land on which they were built to allow their cattle to graze on it for their entire naturalizer until a nuclear war that wipes out 90% of the world's population, whichever comes first. Sorry for